Okay, welcome everyone to DES 104, Beginning Image Editing. I'm your graphic arts instructor, Shannon McNamara. I'm actually going to turn on my camera real quick so I can say hi to you. Hello. All right, so I'm Shannon McNamara, and I'm going to basically be teaching you the Photoshop class, this mod. I apologize, I'm now in my basement. It's actually kind of sunny, and so I tried to have the windows open, but it gives me that weird, like, here's half of my face in the dark going on. I don't have the best webcam on my older laptop, but I'm really excited to be teaching you DES 104. It's one of my favorite courses to teach here. I always like teaching the introductory classes where you get to learn a new program, and this is your first program that you're going to get to learn, so it's extra exciting. When I started my career as a graphic artist, way back when, 20 plus years ago, Photoshop was actually the first Adobe program that I ever learned. So I do like that you guys are following kind of the same path that I followed at school here. I started with Photoshop, then I moved on to Illustrator, then I moved on to InDesign, and you guys will be taking the same steps. So it really does make sense to learn the programs this way. And Photoshop is such a fun program. There's so many different things that you can do. And we're gonna start off with some basics. So don't be scared, just jumping right in there with both feet. It's really important to really get a lay of the land with Photoshop. You know, get in there, kind of play around, make a couple of things, and start to feel a little bit more comfortable inside of the program before you really get in there to work on the assignments and the assessments. I think it's going to build your confidence, and it's going to make the program just seem a little bit more familiar to you. So with that being said, let's get into my slides, let's get into the course, and then let's get into Photoshop. All right. So here is our agenda for this week. We'll go over some quick welcome and introductions, some announcements. I'm going to talk a bit about the pre-learning assessment that you need to take in the Adobe Software Creative Suite. We're going to take a look at the course and some Photoshop tools, and then I'm going to do a little demo as well. So my telephone hours are Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Time. I actually live in Massachusetts, so I'm on Eastern Standard Time. And email really is my best point of contact, but you can text me as well. I did list the my cell phone number in the course. If you need to get a hold of me that way, that is completely fine. Just kind of be aware of the time zone change if you're trying to get a hold of me. Oh, actually, let me fix this. Honestly, it should say 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., which is then 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. my time. So again, you know, just kind of be aware of that time zone change when you are trying to reach me. So in our course, there is an introduce yourself in week 1. And a lot of times people aren't quite sure what to put in the introduce yourself. So I like to give a couple of bullet points for everyone, but I do think it's important to get in there and say hello, because a lot of the students' names that you see, you're going to keep seeing them. So you guys can really forge some bonds, you know, virtually with some of your fellow classmates. And I just think it's really good to do that. So you might want to say who you are, where you're from, what your major is. Do you have any previous experience with Photoshop? Have you gotten your Mac in the mail yet and taken the pre-assessment, the pre-learning assessment? Have you loaded the Adobe applications on your computer yet? What are your career goals? So those are some of the things that you could put in your introductory post. Let's talk a bit about due dates in this course. So this would be your 4th mod. So you probably have a little bit of an idea, you know, how the mods work at this point. You've been through this a couple of times. All assignments and assessments are due Saturday at midnight for full credit. And make sure if you are going to be late that you are communicating with me, because that will save you some missed points. The way I like to present myself to the class is pretend I am your client. So let's say that your assignment or your assessment, that is your proof for me, your client. And in order to get your paycheck, you want to make sure that you're getting the proof to the client on time, so that way it can be approved and they can pay you for the work that you've done. If you think of your instructors in your design courses this way, you're going to be more apt to get that work in on time or to communicate if that work is going to be late, because you wouldn't want to be late with a client and not let them know that you were going to be late or the reason why. So just do the same with me. And if you are letting me know, I'm not going to take off the late points. I just need to hear from you. The week 4 assignments cannot be turned in late. The course will turn into a pumpkin. It will close you out. It will not let you upload. I'll remind you of that each and every week. Also, you have discussion posts in this class. So make sure that your original discussion post is in there by Wednesday at midnight. And this is the big thing. This is where I see people always losing the most points. You also need to respond to 2 of your fellow students by Saturday. So don't forget to do that. Late discussion posts and assignments will only be accepted 1 week after the deadline. So be aware of the open and close dates for your assignments and assessments and those discussions. So if you miss the deadline for week 1, it will only be open through week 2. Here is our schedule for the course. Our live sessions will be held on Monday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and our multi-session will be held on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. multi-time. So this is your first class that you're going to have with a multi-session. What the multi-sessions are is it's kind of like open tutoring. So I don't record them. It's not mandatory to come to them, but if you're running into some problems and you just need me to take a look, if you want to kind of work in the background, if you know that you might have a quick question so you want to pop in, get the answer, and be on your way, please feel free to come to the multi-sessions. That's what they are there for. So you can come in, again, with any assignment problems, any questions, or if you need some one-on-one tutoring. I'm just going to mute everyone just so that way I don't hear anything in the background. There we go. And again, if you do need some outside help outside of my multi-session time, please let me know. I have babysitting Monday through Wednesday. If you do need help on a Thursday or a Friday, there might be a slight chance that my children might be here in the background. But if that isn't going to bother you and it's only, something quick that I can assist you with, please let me know. My husband is home on the weekends. I usually do all of the grading for our courses on Sunday mornings. So that way you have your grades right back. And again, if you email or text me, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and I do like to get back to people as soon as I can. So how are you going to succeed in this course? And I do not gauge success as being an A in the course. I really gauge success as you came into this course to learn something, and at the end of the 4 weeks, you feel more confident in Photoshop, you feel like you understand Photoshop a bit better, and you feel more comfortable, and you feel excited about working in it. To me, that is definitely success in this course. But these are the steps that you're going to have to take in order to succeed in the course. Number 1, read the announcements. The announcements contain information pertaining to this class. That could be links, reminders, scheduling. This is how I communicate with you. I don't get to see you guys face to face in a classroom, so in order to communicate with you, I have to post something in the announcements or send you an email. Make sure that you participate in the discussions each week. There were 60 points, and those points really do add up. Complete your assignments on time. The reason why I say this is not just for grading to not lose out and get late points, but if you go into week 2 and you haven't submitted your work yet for week 1, you're already playing catch up. Now, all right, you have to hurry up and get the work in for week 1 before you can even start week 2. Then, what if you're late again for week 2's work? All right, now you're going into week 3 and you need to play catch up on week 2. Now you're rushing to try to get week 3 done on time. What if week 3 doesn't get done on time? Well, now it's the last week of the class and you're running to get both week 3 and week 4 in because it snowballs. So please, set a schedule for yourself. If you need help coming up with a schedule, please let me know. I teach 2 different courses this mod here. I'm in my last course for my MBA, which is my master's in business through independence. So I have a lot of work I have to do for that. And I also teach for an online high school. And I have 2 small children, a 5-month-old and a 2-year-old. So I'm busy. I understand being busy. If you need somebody to help you because you're busy, I am your person. I will help you come up with a schedule to figure out a way to get it done. Also, make sure that you're doing the daily checkpoints. If you haven't yet, put the Canvas app on your cell phone and set a reminder for yourself to go off at the same time every single day that says complete daily checkpoint. And then don't click it off until you do the daily checkpoint. That's what I do. Attend the live sessions if you can. And if you can't attend them live, I completely understand because we work, we have families, we have kids, we have tons of things going on, we have pets. There's a million reasons why you might not be able to make it live. But I will be doing demonstrations during the live session, so make sure that you watch the recordings. Also, I chunk the recordings for you. So there will be, 1 video that shows you, everything I'm going over right now. And then I'll stop the video, start the recording again for when I go over the discussion. Stop it and start it again for when I go over the assignment. So that way, if you are here live, you can at least go back to the portion on the discussion or the portion on the assignment because you already heard all this. If you need to, please come to the multi-session because that is our open tutoring time. Biggest one, if you need help, please reach out. If I can't help you if I don't hear from you. And I should hear back from everyone because I have sent everyone an email in the class asking you to please respond to that email. When you respond to that email, you will receive a second email from me that has a little survey that asks you where you are at, if you have taken the pre-learning assessment yet, if you've received your laptop yet, if you've downloaded the Adobe programs to your computer yet. So I'm trying to gather all of that information so I can see where everyone is at. So that's part of that communication. All right, I always like to show this first because people are like, whoa, wait a minute, what? These are all of the tools in Adobe Photoshop. If you open up all of the panels and you looked at all of the tools in all of the tool panels. And this is one of those things that I like to point out because it does. It looks a little bit overwhelming. And I always want to tell people, don't worry, we're not going to be using all of these tools. I have been using Adobe Photoshop for over 20 years. And there are some tools that I have never, ever even opened, never mind used. And until I look at this, I forget that those tools even exist because I just don't use them. So you're never going to end up using all of these tools. So this is something that I always like to point out to everyone right off the bat because it can look so confusing, so overwhelming. So just run away from the computer and think to yourself, why did I get myself into this? But don't worry at all, okay? So these are the best ways to get a hold of me. Again, here is my cell phone number. You can call, you can text, my email, or you can message me right through the course in Canvas. All of them will get directly to me. So let's talk a little bit about your Mac and the Adobe CC installation. I have an announcement in the course. There is Mac help. There's a getting to know your Mac in the graphic arts community page, and there's a Mac workshop in the Student Success Center with Tara Cowles. There is Adobe CC installation instructions in the GAC. We call that the GAC, the graphic arts community page. You should have an email with information from Sean Childers Gray. So if you don't see that email, please check your junk email box and make sure it's not in there. First thing that you need to do is take the pre-learning assessment, which is in the graphic arts community. Then you need to reply to Sean's email to confirm that you took the assessment. And you'll receive an access granted email from Adobe with installation steps. So now that we're talking about Adobe and everything else, do you have an Adobe or computer backup plan? Yes. The school sent you a computer, which is awesome because when I went to school online, nobody sent me a computer. I had to use my own. But computers break. Things break. Things stop working. Kids knock things over into computers. Things can happen at your house. When I was going to school for my degree, which is I received from UConn, and I actually went online, which I thought was awesome. I lived in Connecticut at the time, but I went online. I had a house fire at my house 1 week before Christmas. And we lost everything in our house, including both of our Macs. Luckily, I always backed up all of our files to the cloud, which was, I used Dropbox for everything. And since then, I have paid the extra for the extra storage on Dropbox, because if you ever lose a computer, you know how horrible that can be. And if you are someone who has been doing graphic design, which at the time I was doing it for about a little over 15 years, your life is your portfolio. And if everything is on that machine and you lose it and you go get another job, you do not have anything to show them. So we were lucky that my husband got the hard drives out of the computers. The computers themselves were charred, and he plugged them into another computer, and they booted up. The hard drives booted up, and he was able to grab quickly like everything off of them before they completely went kaput. And we put it all of his stuff on the cloud, but my stuff was on the cloud. So you really need to have a backup plan, because like I said, things happen and computers, computers break, quite frankly. So make sure you have a backup plan to be able to put Adobe on another computer if your computer breaks. Please make sure that you have at least an external hard drive, because the hard drives in your Mac, they're not that huge. So you really should be saving, to an external hard drive or to the iCloud, pay for extra iCloud storage, pay for extra Dropbox storage and save your files there. So that way you can access your files somewhere else if your laptop is stolen, if it breaks, if it all of a sudden one day just doesn't turn on. These things happen. So I just want to make sure everyone is aware of that they should have a backup plan. So this is the email or some version of this email is what you should have received from Sean in order to show the steps for receiving your Adobe. So again, first, make sure you take that pre-learning assessment, then reply to Sean's email, and then you will receive an email with your instructions for Adobe. And please do be patient. think of how many students, you guys are in section 3 of this class. So that's a lot of emails that Sean gets, when he gets back to the office on Monday morning that he has to go through and manually reply to. It's not an automated reply. It's Sean manually sending each and every one of you an email. So just have a little bit of patience. So speaking of the graphic arts community, it's a great place for you to go. You should all have access to it now. There are resources for Adobe there. There's announcements. There's lynda.com access. There's student groups and activities. There's different discussion forums. And then we also have, which I did send you a link in the announcements, there is a Facebook group for Independence University for just graphic arts, and it's a closed group so you can feel comfortable sharing with your fellow students in there. But these are 2 great communities that you can join, because sometimes when we go to school online, we feel a little far away from everyone. And I get it, because I finished up my degree online, and taking my master's, I went to school online. So it's nice to feel like you're part of a community, even though you're doing your work here at home. So this is a start, again, of your 100 level DES classes. This is your first one. This means there's going to be 4 hours of lecture. So 2 hours from me, and then there's 2 hours of a pre-recorded lecture in the course. There's going to be additional videos from Adobe and lynda.com. You're going to need to practice outside of class. Use the help resources that are available to you. That's the multi-session with me. You can get into another instructor's multi-session if you need to, and also the Student Success Center. You can go to YouTube to try to find your own resources there. YouTube is a great source for resources. Try to use a second screen to follow along with the demos. So if you have your tablet that the school sent you, for this reason, post all of our lectures on YouTube, so that way it's just a little bit easier to watch them on a tablet, or if you have a smart TV, you can watch them on TV while you're working along. That's what I like to do. I like to send my classes to my TV and then just sit there and work on my computer with it. Be patient. This is your first Adobe class. You need to make friends with your software. Think of your first time in school, your first day of elementary school, or the first day at a new school. You had to make some friends before you really felt at home, right? So it's kind of the same thing with your software. Becoming a good designer requires a lot of work and dedication. So, and there is a recipe out there for a successful assignment, and I'll get into that bit in a bit. I can't talk today. It's Monday, right? So again, if you need some help and assistance in the announcements, our multi-session will be on Tuesday. There are other sections in the announcements. I'll show you where that is. We do have a learning coach for the class. I'll show you her flyer. We can look at getting into the Student Success Center. Adobe CC help. Oops, let me fix this. It's just with Sean. It used to be with Sean and James, but now it is just with Sean. Let me fix the slide. And then there's also IT help, there's IU help, and then you have your Student Services Advisor, who is your SSA, and your FPA. And some of you might even have me as your FPA. So what's Photoshop? Basically, in a nutshell, it's image editing and manipulation, or it's a place where we can digitally design. So Adobe has great help documents. That is one of the things I will say. And I do share my slides with you, by the way. I'll share them in the announcements. So their help section has great beginner learning and support, troubleshooting, and tutorials. From time to time, like I said, I have been in Photoshop for 20 years. Sometimes I'll be trying to do something crazy and I'm like, I feel like somebody else has probably tried to do this. Let me just go into the support area or the discussion forum, and I'll just poke around and see if anybody else has asked this question. Because it's a lot quicker to get some quick help than to kind of rummage around in the program for 3 hours looking for something that was, it was right there. So don't be afraid to go into learning and support. Sometimes the discussions can be like, you can get those people who have been doing Adobe for forever and they're like, duh, it's this. Don't take it the wrong way. It's the internet. Everybody is like that on the internet. However, in this class, if you ask a question, you will get a very kind response from me. And you'll probably get some screenshots too where I can show you where things are. So don't ever be worried about reaching out for help. So again, with that being said, remember, you're learning Photoshop. You don't know Photoshop yet. So this is a class for beginners. We're gonna do baby steps. Take your time, get acquainted. The more you are in a program, the better you are going to be in that program and the better you are going to feel in that program. Make sure that you watch different tutorial videos. There are different ways to access tools and functions. Everybody's way of doing something might be a little bit different. But as long as you get to the solution at the end that you were looking for, I'm okay with that. I do things different than other instructors might do it. Again, there's several ways to get to the same result. It's not an exact science, and that's why designers love Photoshop. Software is a design tool, different strokes for different folks. Pause, follow along, and this is where that second screen can help. And then also relax and breathe. Sometimes when I am doing things, I purposely put my laptop somewhere where I stand to do my work because I can put myself in like mountain or tree pose and I'm like, do some yoga breaths. Don't get stressed out. Relax. And again, learning versus GPA is what counts. Your GPA is not going to get you a job. I can tell you that right now. You may put on your resume that you have a 4.0, but if your portfolio doesn't back that up, that is where your learning comes in. Your learning is going to show on your portfolio. Being able to do things is going to show on your portfolio, and that is what companies are looking for. They want to know what you can do. They don't want to know that you got an A in a course. They want to know what you've learned and you can do from that course. So if you haven't yet installed Photoshop, it's not the end of the world. We're only in day one. Don't freak out. Day one of any mod is like putting out fires everywhere. And I do want to point out something. If you were having any trouble, well, if you're here, you probably weren't having any trouble getting into your course, but I guess there was a little bit of a weird thing going on with Canvas today, and viewing Canvas a certain way is supposed to have fixed it. And there were a lot of people panicking, so I'll try to go over that just in case, because if I post the live session in the announcements, and you can't actually view the course, but you can see the email from me, you might be freaking out if you're watching this at home. So I'm going to show you how to fix it. I just had one of my students fix it. She just texted me back and said, yep, it's working. So that's a good thing. All right. So if you haven't yet installed Photoshop, first things first, take that pre-learning assessment in the graphic arts community page. If you haven't received your access info, but you've taken the pre-learning assessment, did you reply to the email from Sean? Check your junk mail. Do a search in your email, find that email from Sean and reply to it and let him know that you took the pre-learning assessment. If you took the pre-learning assessment a while ago and you're like, didn't hear back, go back in and reply to Sean again because we're now in the mod that you should be taking it. Get some extra help from me in the open session tomorrow. If you do need some Adobe help, Sean has Adobe Help on Thursdays and Fridays, and we can look at the times. Let me know if any of these things are going to make you late on week one's assignment, because I just need to know so we can make every effort to avoid you falling behind in week one. I don't want you to fall behind. I want you to get started in Photoshop as soon as possible. So let's take a tour of the class. Let's look at the announcements, the course info page, the live session page, and the course media page. Let me just exit out of this. So like I was saying, some people's courses were not showing up today. Now, this is how my dashboard looks, and this may be how your dashboard looks usually. And what they were saying is that you need to change it, your view, from card view, which is what we all seem to default and keep it at, to list view, and then your courses will show up. Why? Nobody really knows. There was some weird glitch going on in Canvas today, and I literally said to my student, that must have been so confusing, and they need to fix that. And this isn't the school. This is Canvas, which is like a different entity altogether from the school. But this is the fix. So go into the 3 dots right here and change it from card view to list view. There is a good reason for leaving Canvas in list view, because it shows you anything that needs to be completed, and then it shows you that it was completed. I'm just going to go into Firefox here so you can see this is my Canvas for my class that I'm in, and it shows me everything that I have that's due. So for some reason it's not. And then you can get to your courses this way as well, but if they weren't showing up, and it might have been stuck under all courses. So again, I do apologize if this happened to you, but just change that view in your dashboard, and then you should be good to go. So let's take a quick look at both our course and the graphic arts community. I want to look at the GAC first, because this is where that pre-learning assessment is. This isn't a class. It's just a community for you of stuff that we share with you and all different things for you guys. But it's also where you can locate the pre-learning assessment and the how on how to download your Adobe Creative Cloud. So let's go into where the pre-learning assessment is first. Do not worry about this quiz. You're not really graded on it. We just need you to take it so that way it shows up that you did take it, that it shows that you're following the steps that you need to do to get your Adobe. So what you would do is come down here and pick which program you are in. Here's the thing. Off the top of my head, I do not know your program. So you're going to need to actually find out your own program. If you have questions, you can consult your SSA or your FPA, and then click on the link that you need to get into the correct pre-learning assessment that you need to take. Once you have done that, go back to the home page. And there is a link right here, right next to it on the Adobe Creative Cloud. So click there, and you can kind of scroll down. If you just received your laptop and you never used a Mac before, click here. If you're a new student, have you taken the pre-learning assessment? If so, continue. If not, click here. What do I need to know about my Adobe student license? If you want to read the licensing agreement, click here. So if you're installing for the first time, click right there. And here is a video that has your Adobe installation guide. So you can watch this and find out what to do. All right. Now let's take a look at the course. I'm just going to go into student view so it looks the same for you so it looks the same on this screen as it does for you guys. It's just that I can't be in the GAC and in student view at the same time, which is kind of a bummer. So let's take a look at our announcements for the course. There's a couple in here. You should have a welcome email from me that says, please reply to this email. So if you have not replied to that email, then please make sure you do. Hold on one second, I'm just getting back to one student. There we go. I just have a couple of students who are wondering why they can't get into their course. All right, so please reply to that email so that way I can send you the survey, so that way I can see where you are at. I did put a helpful links and advice all in one place, or at least I tried to get it all into one announcement. So we'll open that one up. We'll open up some tips for a successful week one, and we'll take a look and see who our learning coach this is. So our learning coach is DJ Smith. She has hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and she's really nice. So you can get into the Student Success Center to see her. If you have not yet been to the Student Success Center, here's how you can do it. Click on the Student Success Center link right on the homepage. And what you're going to need to do is, if you haven't yet, click here to enter, and you're going to need to enter, or if you've been in here before, you can enter your name and click login to get into a session. If you have not ever been in here, click right here. And this tells you how to sign in and locate your learning coach. So you want to click on this link, and it's going to bring you to a download the launcher screen. And then you'll click on the launcher. Just follow these steps. Sometimes you have to do the steps a couple of times for some reason. That's happened to me in the past, and I'm not quite sure why. It's just like it wouldn't run. It was like the third time, and then it finally did. So just follow all the steps. Come back and then click to enter the Student Success Center. It's because it runs through Blackboard and we're on Canvas, so it's a little bit different. And again, if you're having trouble, I'm your instructor. Please use me as your first point of contact if you're having any trouble. You can find under the About the Instructor, you can find my office and my cell number. And again, you can message me right through the inbox of the course. If you click on inbox, oh, hold on, let me show it to you under my student course. If you click on the inbox, click on the compose a new message, just find your course. Oh no, it's kind of funny. Oh, here it is. All right, I was gonna say, my course isn't showing up. And click on teachers. I will show up there. So don't worry. Let me go back in. When I'm in student view, certain things just don't show up correctly. All right, and then again, the help desk, you can find computer support right here. Everything you need is really on the home page. But I have some more helpful links for you, so you can go in and read these and you can bookmark them. So make sure you go through this announcement. And as I was saying, Sean hosts open help for Adobe Thursdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Mountain Time and Fridays from 10 to 12 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you need some extra help, please feel free to get in with Sean. Then here's how to succeed in week one. Number one, have you said hello? Make sure you say hello to your fellow students in the Introduce Yourself discussion post. Make sure that you reply to any and all of my emails. And then I'd like to share this with you guys. If you are looking for some fonts, you know, if this is your first time being in a design class, just some web pages that you can bookmark. Don't forget about the readings and videos from week 1. Let's take a look and see what you have. So here's your week 1 media. There's a pre-recorded lecture. It's all on getting up and running with your computer and installing Adobe, how to be successful in this course, and an introduction to Photoshop's workspace and basic tools. Then you have selecting part of an image, how to make a custom banner, and then you have a lynda.com playlist. So getting into the lynda.com playlist is, there's kind of a couple of steps. You need to use the lynda.com student access portal. So click on the student access portal link right here. Click here. And then you're going to click lynda.com student access portal and load it in a new window. And then once you get in here, go back. It's kind of like a weird way to get in. And just go back to the readings and videos. See how it's running right here? Now when you scroll down, you can click on that link and go to your week 1 playlist, and it'll show up. I know it's like a bunch of weird steps. It's like you kind of have to, it's like you have to tell Lynda, hey, I'm here as a student. Don't worry, because lynda.com is a paid subscription and you get it free through the school, and it's worth every penny, let me tell you. So if you need to, try to just follow these steps to get into your lynda.com playlist. If you need some help with your discussion post, you can visit the Writing Center. Week 1 at the Writing Center always seems jammed. So just make sure that if you're going to submit something to them, that you submit it and expect to get it back in 48 hours. Or if you need to make an appointment now, because it fills up really quickly in week 1. If you want to come to the live session or find the recordings, you can find them in the live session tab. In the announcements, I will share both of the recordings from the live session and my slides with you. Again, if you need some extra help, visit the Student Success Center. If you need some computer help, visit computer support. Don't forget to do those daily checkpoints. And then here's my reminder for you. Paying for a college education and not attending is the same as reserving a hotel room and then sleeping on the bench outside at night. Please be present in class. Let's have a successful week 1. So again, you have that pre-recorded session. Make sure you watch that. Make sure you're going over the videos and readings. There are other instructor multi-sessions. It's in the announcements, those times. And then take advantage of everything that we have to offer you. You know, don't struggle by yourself. Make sure that you do that first post by Wednesday, and don't forget to respond to 2 of your fellow students. And then you do need a substantive post, and that is a post that contains at least 150 words and 1 citation. Your citation does not need to be in special APA format. If you just throw the URL at the end and put reference, that's okay for me. Don't worry about getting fancy, okay? Please make sure that you summarize anything that you find online in your own words, and then still provide that citation, because it wasn't your thought or idea. We don't want to run into any plagiarism problems in this course. I not only accept, but I really encourage you to revise your assignments. Use the critique and the feedback from me to make your work better. I will let you resubmit something once. So 1 revision per assignment for regrading. So please, you know, use the critique that I give you and then resubmit it to get a better grade. Your assessments in this class are considered tests. They're assessing your understanding of the weekly material, and the tools that you need will be demonstrated in those pre-recorded lecture videos. So I'm not going to do a step-by-step demo of the assessments in the live sessions. And those assessments won't have a resubmission unless if I let you know that they do. So the coaches can show you the tools, but not help you do the assessment. So again, don't forget about those daily checkpoints. 4 a week are required. That's what I consider your net zero for the course for a week. If you do 3 or more than that, that would act as extra credit. They can help your grade, but the zeros can hurt your grade too. I have seen students lose an entire grade, like go from an A to a B just because of daily checkpoints, because they didn't do them. They have great added information, and you can save the links for references in the future. So again, assignments and assessments are due by Saturday. Pretend I am your client. Contact me via email, phone, or text before the project is due. If you're gonna contact me by phone or text, just be aware I am Eastern Standard Time, so I don't need a text or a phone call from you at midnight if you're gonna be late. That would be a great time to send me an email. And then after the deadline, it's just that. It's gonna be after the deadline, and your work will be penalized for being late. So here's my recipe for success, okay? Read through each week's introduction, discussion, assignment, and assessment. Take note of what is being asked of you. Watch the pre-recorded sessions for the week. Watch those first. Stop, take note of anything that's gonna help you to do that week's work. And then attend or watch, the live session, which is actually Monday, not Tuesday. Sorry about that. Mondays, start your discussion and your assignments early. So that way, if you need added help, don't run into it's 10 o'clock at night on Saturday, which means it's midnight Shannon's time. And she's been in bed for quite a while. So, start early so that way I can help you if you need help. Follow along with the demos for your projects. Watch the media videos if you need some additional demos, and then seek help and feedback. I already fixed this once. I fixed this last night. Oh, I know what happened. I was in the middle of fixing this, and I accidentally disconnected my hard drive from my computer. That's why. That's what happened. I was like, something weird happened last night. Not only was it something weird, it was a nightmare. If needed, make sure that you get in and help with the coaches in the Student Success Center, and submit by the deadline or notify me if you're having any obstacles, okay? So again, keeping up with the class. By Wednesday night, you should have at least reviewed what your work is for the week. Watch the lectures, watch the live sessions, and post it in the discussion. By Friday morning, you should have at least watched my live session. It's been up there for 5 days at that point. Start working on the assignment and start working on the assessment, and then come to the multi-session if needed on Tuesday. By Saturday at midnight, you should have posted your second comment and submitted your work. But my whole thing is, don't wait till Saturday. Like, let's really revise these days. If you don't want to get behind, I say by Tuesday, have your discussion done, right? Maybe then by Thursday, watch the second session and start your work, right? At that point, you could have came to the multi-session and got your work started at the multi-session. I don't mind if you want to sit in my Zoom room and work in the background. I say have at it. That way you can ask me any questions you might have. And then I say by Friday, caps lock, review any demos and media, post your second comment, and submit your assignment and your assessment. Because if you go to submit it on Friday and you realize that there's something wrong, you have a whole day to fix it, right? Don't wait till the last minute. Be ahead of the game. You'll be rolling into week 2 like, look at me. All right, any questions? I know that was a lot of information so far. And if not, no worries. All right, so let's take a look in the course. Let's poke around the course a little bit. I'm going to click on, you'll notice I clicked on week 1. Week 1 is actually going to bring you in where you can get to the introductions to introduce yourself. So I have a couple of tips and details and tricks for this. Like I said, watch the pre-recorded lecture first. There's a how-to in the announcements on how to embed images into your post. And note that the example images should be of each of the deliverables listed. So here's a little bit about me. This isn't a video I usually send my FPA students when they first come to school, but there is some, the about me is the first 10 minutes, but there's a lot of helpful information about Canvas in that video if you want to get in and watch it. And if you don't, no worries at all. I get that you have a lot to do.